Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I am live today to talk about feminist literary criticism. Dear reverend brothers and sisters, I hope you will be very benefited and helpful. So, would you mind concentrating? Would you mind paying heed most important topic, feminist literary criticism, which must come under 20th century critical theories and literary movements? We see in recent years, feminist theory has steadily grown interdisciplinary, and feminist literary criticism questions the long-standing dominant male phallocentric ideologies, patriarchal attitude, and male interpretation in literature. Besides, feminist literary criticism is a self-aware and concerted approach to literature, which was inaugurated in the late 1960s. It is approximately an outcome of the of the 2 centuries for women's rights. This struggle springs from the extreme negative and extreme positive treatment of the women by male dominating art, culture, literature, history, community, society, and so on. Women are treated as they were in their positions from the very inception of the literary history up to the last decade of the 18th century. This sort of dominating treatment carried on smoothly while it was, for the first time, stumbled into a reactionary publication of Mary Wollstonecraft's The Vindication of the Rights of Women in 1792. It's a manifesto on the whole gamut of the day, which brought a revolution. It's a seminal work. And she was followed by the American Margaret Fuller, Women in the 19th Century, and John Stuart Mill's The Subjection of Women. Mr. Mill was a male writer. She wrote on behalf of the women, in the favor of the women. This book added fuel to the fire. But all these were segregated approaches to the women's rights and privileges, and the combined and concerted in the was after 1960s. However, an important exponent in the feminist literary criticism was Virginia Woolf, and she who is mainly famous for her remarkable feminist fiction, A Rome of One's Own, and numberless other essays on women and on cultural and economic educational issue. In those writings, she called the patriarchal society which have hindered women from realizing their creative possibilities. So we are talking about feminist literalism, but please note, in the early decades of the 20th century, there emerged a momentum of revolution. In the early decades of the 20th century, there emerged a momentum revolution which opened the eyes of the women and the thinkers of women. They checked their position in the society, in the world, in a new light. Let's come to Virginia Woolf. Is mainly famous for her A Room of One's Own. This book is an seminal work. She argued that economic independence was a essential precondition of an autonomous women's art. She also believed that women's literature held a promise of a precious specialty, a distinct female vision. At last, this book becomes a kind of utopian, Amazon utopian population. In fact, there are two stages of feminist thoughts. One is from the 1792 to the Second World War, and the other is the moment after the Second World War. And the second movement began with the publication of Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex. And although feminism originated in the last decade of the 18th century, it got its momentum offshoot after the publishment of this book. Then we have to discuss two opposite ideas: ex- extreme negative ideas and extreme positive ideas. First, we have to discuss extreme positive ideas, negative ideas. We will get two positive ideas if we analyze the past art, culture, literature, and sociology. There are then two opposite ideas about women. Those are extreme negative idea and extreme positive idea. Let us discuss these two opposite ideas side by side. Extreme negative idea. In both the negative and positive cases, women are extremely treated. They are never treated as they are. We don't get any exact representation about how they feel or react against their male counterparts. In the book of Genesis, in the Old Testament, we have got an idea about women. The idea is that they are born of a supernumerary boon of a man. It proves that women's very origin is dependent on man. But the reality is that man does not give birth a son, it is by a female. Regarding women, there are a number of comments from a number of prodigious persons. It proves that women's very origin is dependent on man. Regarding women, there are a number of comments from a number of prodigious persons. These are projected here. According to Saint Thomas Aquinas, women are incidental. A woman is an imperfect man. It is an incidental creature. According to Saint Thomas, according to Saint Augustine, women is neither decisive nor constant. According to Aristotle, woman is a creature lacking some qualities. According to Plato, thanks God not having made me a woman. According to Byron, women are more aggressive than men. Modern thinkers about women, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, popular person in the field of equality, freedom, justice, and friendship. He is a modern thinker. According to him, women are a necessity of evil. It is the evil not go without. According to William Shakespeare, the name is woman. According to Sigmund Freud, a woman's anatomy is her person. That is, her physical beauty is all. There is beauty within the women. According to Friedrich Nietzsche, a father of modernism, he says, women are something very insignificant creatures, like cows. If you want to go to a woman, don't forget to take a whiff. Then we have to discuss extreme positive ideas. According to Rabindranath Tagore, women are half man and half imagination. The smile of a Mona Lisa, the smile of a Mona Lisa, the smile of Mona Lisa is highly glorified for centuries over. Besides, the stories of ancient epic, especially the Indian epics, are full of women's praising leaders. Actually, women's position in literature are marginal. They have been presented in a very marginal way, and this realization came past not such a juncture that both men and women understood that it's a man-made myth. According to Rabindranath Tagore, nor mother, nor daughter, nor wife Nondin Bashine Urshi, our national poet Kazi Nazrul Islam is a revolutionary poet who praises women for taking part in progression of the world. He says, what is good, great, prosperous for a country is done half by men and half by women. According to a sagacious person, women are the factories of giving birth a lot of child, a lot of children, so don't neglect and ignore them. According to the Holy Quran, mother who has given birth to you, being in the family way, do your duty and respect to her. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam holds the dignity of women before the whole universe. He says regarding the dignity of mothers, according to him, heavens must be under mother's feet. All these are the outcome of patriarchal society deliberately portraying the image or picture of the women. And the most important issue we have to discuss, that is streams. Besides, major streams are contributing mass in the field of feminism. The first one is the Anglo-American stream, and the second one is the France stream. But there is a fundamental difference between these two streams. The France system considered the way of thinking and writing about male and female, not about their biological difference. They are essentialist. But the Anglo-American streams, the conception or the idea of the Anglo-American stream is relative. They say there is no difference in thinking and writing. American stream is more interested in analyzing the thematic interpretation of the text by women and on women. On the other hand, the France system is more interested in theorizing about women's position in literature. So the American system is thematic, while the France system is theoretic. These two streams are progressive in such a way that in recent times, some thinkers are thinking of feminism. Among them, the remarkable person are Sophia Coca and Rebecca Reed. These two persons wrote a book which is more aggressive. The decant of a female icon. They are not satisfied with even the equal rights, rather they demand their compensation. And then we have to discuss what feminist critics do. I would like to present uh, what feminist critics do in a very numerical way. by point method. First of all, the feminist literary critics, they think and rethink the canon, aiming at the rediscovery of the text written by women. Secondly, they value and revalue women's expertise. Thirdly, they examine the presentation of women in literature by men and women. Fourthly, reread. They reread analysis to further explore the issue of male and female identity. Fifthly, they think of the biological as well as the social aspects of women. And finally, they tried their utmost to build up all kinds of rights and privileges, namely the liberty of thoughts, the liberty of expression, liberty of movement, liberty of writing and working, and liberty of casting votes, and so on. So eventually, judging from all points of view, we can say that feminism is a theory of philosophy dealing with a political movement whose objectives are ultimately emancipatory. It's the contemporary theory that presents a truly radical critique of the Enlightenment legacy of modernism. So, in spite of having some obstacles, feminist literary critics have fought for the extension of Enlightenment discourses and sovereign rights to women as fully human subjects. So that's all for today, and thank you very much for your cooperation and coordination.